Busy weekend coming up, and we got plenty of football too. Let's get to it. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com, our guest here on the show, 1310 WDPN. Ross, the boss, what's going on, my man?
Schedule you got, my man.
There he goes. There's Ross. I didn't get there. He is. All right, partner. Hey, boy, it's been a little bit since we've been able to visit. How's things in your world? I know Thanksgiving was a week ago, but how is everything in your world?
Everything's good, Sam.
Good.
I got to go through gallbladder operation on Tuesday, but hopefully that's the last of all these health issues I've had this year. Boy, oh boy, it's been a rough year health-wise.
Man, that's
guy who went 67 years with no health problems, and all in 1 year, it's all catching up to me.
Man, well, we're in your corner, bub. You'll be all right. You'll be back at it 1,000% and ready to roll. That's one place in life you want to take the under. You want to be under on all the health problems. the older you get,
or the over on your age expectancy. One of the two.
You gotta split the atom somehow. Yeah. Oh, I got something you can laugh at. I do a little thing here on the show. I do it every day. It's Sammy B's best bet. I just pick one game. I don't care what it is. Hockey, NBA, hoops, whatever. And about 4:30, I do a little minute bit on it, put up the graphic, give the pick. Last night, I'm feeling real good. And so let's go with the Washington Huskies at home, plus the 1.5 against UCLA. 82-80, the final score. I mean, come on. Yeah. But that happens. It happens. Yeah. I got bit by the hook last night, and I stayed up till after 1 o'clock in the morning to watch it too.
Yeah, it's even worse, right? It's and if I have a big lead on one of those late games, at halftime I go to bed because if I stay up, I know it's going to keep me up not only to 1 o'clock but to probably 4 o'clock because they blew a big lead, one or two. Right. But nothing worse than losing by a half a point in basketball. You know.
Brutal. The game was over at like 1:16 in the morning. I finally got to bed about 2, and I woke up at 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I saw John Wooden's face every time I woke up. It made me sick.
John Wooden was there. He's probably turning his grave, only winning by 2 against Washington.
Right. Says, what's going on out there?
Yeah.
Oh man. So here we go. Boy, hey, college football, man. This is the good stuff here. Plus the NFL's coming down the home stretch, and we are glad to have you with us here. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. We'll talk about that Weekend Warrior package. We'll give you that direct address to get to Ross as we plow through a big weekend. I want to start with the Big Ten championship game on Saturday. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this game. Number one, because, it's 1-2. Both schools are within like 2 hours of the venue. They've almost oversold the place for Saturday night. People complaining about tickets and everything. Yeah. Buckeyes are minus 4.5, the total 47.5. They didn't play in the regular season. Break this one down, Ross. Buckeyes and Hoosiers.
Yeah, talk about tickets. The average ticket price is $538 for this game. And the rest of the conference championship games are about $200 or $300 cheaper per ticket. So talk about a conference championship game in high demand, and rightfully so. The two best teams in the country going at it. Here's the thing with me, Sam. It's the side's always not the play. And I look at this total of 48. You're looking at two elite defenses. I mean, Ohio State's defensive numbers are otherworldly. I mean, you look at and even if you look at them within their conference, they've dominated. And so is Indiana. I mean, you're talking about an Indiana team that's only allowing 12 points per game in conference play. Ohio State, I believe, around 8 in conference play and 7 on the season. I just think the defenses will dominate in this game. And both teams are run heavy. I mean, you're looking at Indiana runs the ball in 60% of their offensive plays, Ohio State around 55%, but both teams are excellent against the run. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that either defense is going to hold the opposing offense to what they've been allowing per game so far. But I do think they'll hold the opposing offenses to well below their season averages, if that makes sense. And having said that, I like this game to go under the total of 48.
Okay, I'll tell you what. This is I've been watching these lines ever since they first came out, and what was it, 5.5? It dipped to 5. It went to 4.5, and I started, I overthink everything, and I started thinking, well, maybe the Buckeyes are going to hold a couple of their wideouts out of the game, because in the big picture here, Ross, I think even if you lose this game, you go to the playoffs and you probably still have.
As long as it's not a blowout. As long as it's not a blowout in this game, both teams are going to be 1-2. I mean,
I think so too.
Yeah, how could you rule either team out of being in the top two spots? Unless one team comes out and wins 35-3, then it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's a great point. So Ross likes under the 48, the Big Ten championship game, Iowa. Yeah, right. Indiana and Ohio State Saturday night at Lucas Oil. That's the call there by Ross. Check them out. The Big Weekend Warrior package is available. We will flash that graphic up on the screen. Also, the direct address to get right to Ross and get all of his great picks this big college and pro football weekend. All right, Conference Championship weekend continues. BYU Texas Tech. This game, Ross, sold out completely in Jerry World. They still don't have enough tickets. 12.5 Red Raiders over BYU. Do we get a repeat of what happened earlier this year, or did the Cougars turn the tables?
It's hard to blow a team out twice. It's hard to beat a team twice, especially when they're quality teams. But I think this is an exception to the rule. And why I say that is the first time they met, Texas Tech dominated them physically, okay? Both lines of scrimmage, and this Texas Tech defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I ordinarily I would put a lot of emphasis on revenge, especially revenge with a double-digit underdog with a team that's 11-1. But it's a whole different story when the revenge stems from a game you got dominated physically on both sides of the ball. So having said that, very small lean for me on Texas Tech in the later points.
Red Raiders minus the 12.5 against the Cougars. That's a noon game, so actually 11 a.m. start in Texas on Saturday. Ross Benjamin, our guest, wagertalk.com, wagertalk.com. We'll put those graphics back up on the screen here in another minute or so. SEC championship. Boy, what a surprise here, Ross. Georgia and Alabama playing for the Southeast Conference Championship. 4:00 start. The Dogs are laying 2.5 to the tie. The total fluctuating 48.5. How do you see this one?
Well, this is a revenge situation, but it's a whole different revenge situation because Georgia, they lost 24-21 at home. Their only loss this year to Alabama, and that was their first loss in, I believe, 34 or 35 home games, and they haven't lost since at home. And now they're playing with revenge against, and they didn't dominate, but they had the edge in statistics in that game. So, it's a viable situation for Georgia. I think the best play, though, is when you look at both of these teams, Alabama's played 4-0 to the under in their last 4. Of course, one of those games was against Eastern Illinois, but I haven't said that. Only allowing 13 points per game in less than 300 yards per contest. In Georgia, over their last 3, 3-0 to the under, and 36 points per game combined were scored, and they held their opponents to around 7 points per game. And that Georgia offense only scored 16 on Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech was a good team this year. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody would argue that, but I also think that they were overrated a bit throughout the course of the year. And their defense left a lot to be desired. And Georgia only managed to score 16 there. I'm going to go with this game to go under the total of 47.5, Sam.
All right, there he goes. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com, under the 47.5, Georgia and Alabama. Finally, the how in the hell did this happen bowl? Duke and Virginia. 8:00 in Charlotte. The 17th rated Cavaliers giving the Dukies 4.5. I don't know how we got here, Ross, but what do you think, Virginia and Duke?
Yeah. Boy, the scenario if Duke wins the game, the ACC champion is not going to the college football playoffs. Because,
right? How about that?
As opposed to the 4 conference usually last year, where they just took the 4 conferences champions automatically. This year, it's the 5 teams that are the highest rated conference champion. And Duke, I mean, James Madison's higher rated, Tulane's higher rated, North Texas is higher rated. I don't know where the list ends, but in any event, they're in this game with a 7-5 record. Virginia been pretty fraudulent for most of the year, but I like the way they finished the season. I also like the fact that when they played Duke, similar scenario to what we saw in the Texas Tech and BYU game the first time around. Virginia beat them soundly, but they dominated them physically on both sides of the ball. So I don't see much change. It's one thing when they played a second time and the physicality wasn't dominant from one side, but it was in this instance, just like it is in Texas Tech. And when that happens, very seldom do you see that tide turn in the same season. So I'm going to go with Virginia here, lay the points over Duke.
There he goes. Ross likes Virginia over Duke in the ACC championship game. That's Saturday night at 8 p.m. in Charlotte. Plenty of good tickets still available for that one. All right, let's shift our attention to the pros, the National Football League. And, we got about a month to go, and it's time to start watching the standings and who's in, who's out, who's still in the hunt, as the NFL likes to say. So let's get ready and talk a little NFL. Before we even get to any games, has there been a team that has been an unbelievable surprise to you, Ross, and a team that has been an incredible disappointment, one way or the other?
Incredible disappointment. I mean, Cincinnati would have to fall into that category, but you have to put an asterisk there because they spent most of the year without Joe Burrow. Who else comes to mind? Baltimore would have to fall in that category. I mean, with a 6-6 record, I know that they went a few games without Lamar Jackson, but they've done that in the past, and they pretty much held serve in those types of situations. That wasn't the case this year, and now you think they're turning it around, and then they lose last week at home to Cincinnati and lost quite handily.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact. So, yeah, they would fall in that category. The Rams, I thought, would be good, but not as good as they are. The Rams, to me, offensively and defensively, an excellent team, probably the most well-balanced team between offense and defense in the NFL right now. So they've been a surprise, not so much as nobody saw this coming, but I thought they would contend for the division. I thought they would be a wild card team, but to be in the position they are right now and look so good and so dominant at times is a surprise to me.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either. I'll tell you what else, I didn't see New England. I mean, my gosh, they're just on fire.
Unquestionably. I missed that one, and that was an oversight on my part. But
it makes me sick, though, Ross, because, we had Mike Vrabel in the building in Berea last year on the sidelines, helping out in practice, and then whoop, there he goes, off to New England, and the Patriots are just playing incredible football.
The difference there is having a young quarterback named Drake May and having 2 young quarterbacks named Dylan Gabriel and, Sanders.
Our buddy Shador, yeah. Hey, Ross, before we get to the picks, I want you to tell everybody about your incredible Weekend Warrior package that you offer up here during the football season. Tell everybody all about it and how they can get into it.
Yeah, you go to wagertalk.com or my direct link, which is wt.buzz/RB. You see that right up on the screen there. Kudos to the producer. And also, that Weekend Warrior package over the last 3 weekends has gone 16-6-1 combined, coming off a 6-2 week in the NFL on a 13-4 run in the NFL. College football currently number 2 on this at Wager Talk out of 35 professional handicappers there. And it's nothing new for me in college football. Number 2 in college football this year, number 1 last year, number 2 in 2023. We got a college football postseason package too, Sam.
All right.
Starting with the conference championship games that begin tomorrow. It includes all the conference championship games, bowl games, and playoffs, including next week's regular season finale between Navy and Army, all for $149. And why should you entertain that, folks? Because over the last 3 college football postseasons, I have gone 40-21. I should say over the last 2 college football postseasons, 40-21. That's about 65%. And I'm going to make you a lot of money, man, for just a small investment. So spend a little to make a lot. And for you basketball players out there, NBA started the year 22-12. And also 36-17 runs since last year. College basketball beginning to heat up as well. We have a $49 3-day pass for college basketball, NBA combined. So a lot to take advantage of, Sam, and a lot of winning has been done by yours truly.
Let's keep it rolling. WT.buzz/RB. Also take advantage of that Weekend Warrior package. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. He is the best in the business. All right, NFL. Let's go Steelers-Ravens on Sunday. Baltimore laying 5.5 to the Steelers. Ross, I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. I finally think the plug is going to be pulled on Mike Tomlin at the end of the year. I could be wrong there. What do you see here, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Maryland on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the best answer to that Tomlin situation is to pull the plug. Not because he's a bad coach. You just don't become a bad coach overnight, Sam.
Right.
I just think a change of scenery would be great for Tomlin, and a new, fresh outlook would be good for Pittsburgh. Having said all that, boy, you look at how they played last week at home against Buffalo, and they got beat up. And, they did nothing offensively. It really personified when you saw Aaron Rodgers there with that bloody nose and a little bit dazed. It showed the whole game in a nutshell right there. And there's something with Pittsburgh right now. I just can't pull the trigger, even as a 5.5-point dog. I really don't like this game. But to give you an educated opinion, I think that Baltimore has a better chance of bouncing back after a poor performance last week at home against Cincinnati. I don't see the Ravens losing 2 in a row at home with Lamar at quarterback. And I think Baltimore's defense will do enough, because Pittsburgh's offense, you look at their points per game, and it's misleading, Sam. It's not like they're up there, way up there, but they're not a 24-point per game team.
Right.
You look at their total, they're averaging less than 300 yards per game in total offense. So I have a small lean, I guess, towards Baltimore here, -5.5, but not crazy about it.
Ross Benjamin, our guest, wagertalk.com. You can get right to him, get his great picks, WT.buzz/RB. All right, I think this one could be fun, Ross. The Colts at the Jaguars, Jacksonville, 1 o'clock Sunday. The Colts laying 1.5 on the road, the total between 47 and 48. I kind of like the Jags here a little bit. What do you think, Ross?
I like the Jags a lot of bit, Sam.
Okay. All right.
Look, this to me comes down to home and away dichotomies, with both teams being fairly healthy. And Jacksonville 4-1 at home, only allowing 14 points per game. Is it still Everbank Field? I don't know. Anyway, whoever's sponsoring that stadium in Jacksonville, they've done awfully well there. In Indianapolis, as good as they've been at home, they're just 2-3 on the road. And it comes down to, Trevor Lawrence has made a lot of mistakes this year, and Daniel Jones hasn't, right? But history will tell you that over the course of their career, Daniel Jones has been a hell of a lot more error-prone than Trevor Lawrence. And I think that will be the difference here. And I think Jacksonville is the better defensive team in this matchup. So in a game that's huge for both teams, I like the Jags at home here. You know, that point and a half that you get is just an additional bonus.
I like it. Ross Benjamin, our guest, wagertalk.com. Check him out, wagertalk.com. All right, I know you're zoned in on this, baby. The Bengals at the Buffalo Bills Sunday at 1 o'clock. Buffalo laying 5.5. The total looks like it's around 53 and a hook. Will they circle the wagons in Orchard Park, or will Joe Burrow come in there and spoil the party?
Yeah, well, Joe Burrow definitely scares me, but look, if Cincinnati had a halfway decent running game, I would love them in the spot, okay? But they don't. I mean, they average less than 90 yards per game on the ground, and you saw a team like Pittsburgh who was averaging less than 100 per game against Buffalo last week, and they played like a team or rushed the ball like a team that averaged less than 100 yards per game this late in the year. So I think that will be a telltale sign there. I think Burrow will have a big game because they're going to be pass heavy in this game. And Buffalo, to me, this is a good matchup for the Bills because offensively they have some shortcomings, but one thing we know for sure is they could run the ball. And James Cook is probably one of the 2 or 3 best running backs in all of football right now. Over 1,200 yards of rushing, over 230-something yards receiving. And I think he'll have a huge game against a Cincinnati defense that gives up over 150 yards per game on the ground. And quite frankly, a Cincinnati defense, despite the fact that they played very well last week against Baltimore, but that's a division opponent. It takes on a whole new light when you go on the road. And Cincinnati's been good. Was good last week. They've been competitive at times. I just don't see them coming up with 2 huge efforts in a row in back-to-back road games, and a lot on the line for Buffalo too. 8-4. They still have hopes, glimmering hopes of next week they play New England. They can't afford to look beyond this game, and they know that, because you look beyond this game, next thing you know, you're just fighting for a wild card spot and not an AFC East title. And they're still alive for an AFC East title, and I think the sense of urgency will be high for the Bills, and I like the Bills in this matchup.
Here we go, Buffalo. Ross Benjamin, our guest. Check him out, wt.buzz/RB, wagertalk.com, and don't forget, take advantage of that Weekend Warrior package. We'll put that graphic up one more time before we leave you. Ross, we got time for one more. I'm not even going to waste our time with the Browns and the Titans. That's just on Sunday. Yeah. And there'll be a lot of empty seats, and it is what it is. Texans and the Chiefs. I don't know. KC laying 3.5, the total 41.5. It's another prime timer for Patty Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The Chiefs are on life support, Ross. Can they rally? Is this team getting close to being not a part of the postseason, or what's going on?
Yeah, they're very close, and they're going to be getting a stern test this week. I mean, Houston's defense, in case you've been not paying attention, is pretty damn good, folks. Look at their defensive numbers. They're stopping everybody. Matter of fact, they played Buffalo a couple weeks ago. They sacked Josh Allen 8 times. Josh Allen got sacked something like 12 times all last year. They did it 8 in one game. So if they could sack him 8 in one game, they certainly could sack Mahomes. Even though he's a similar type quarterback when it comes to mobility. But I just can't back Kansas City right now, the way they looked. And it's like you keep waiting for them to wake up. And it's almost like you're desperate at the poker table and you're willing to stay in to catch an inside straight on the river card. Okay.
Right.
I have a small lean toward Houston in this game, and I would have a small lean toward going under the total of 41.5 as well.
All right. There it is. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. You can check him out, wagertalk.com. Also, you get right to him. Get those great picks, wt.buzz/RB, and take advantage of that Weekend Warrior package. He is on fire. Ross, thank you so much for coming on today. Best of luck with the upcoming challenges you've got coming up as far as health. We'll be praying for you back here in Ohio, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bud?
All right. Have a great one, Sam. Thank you.
There he goes. Ross Benjamin from wagertalk.com.